How many people here have heard the saying, as a man thinketh, so he is? Have you heard that?
Yes.
So you do subscribe to the idea that thoughts held in mind produce after their kind? Yeah. I don't like the as a man thinketh. I changed it. I was driving in one day and I saw that I put as a man thinketh. And I said, that was written over 2,000 years ago. I'm going to change it to as a person thinketh. Because women are thinking too, right? Yeah, so if you're right, as a man thinketh, like it's a little sexist. And I don't want to be a sexist. I want equality. You have to be responsible for your thoughts as well. You're responsible for what you're thinking. And that's true for all of us. And if that's true and we're creating our reality by the activity of our thinking, we have to look at the nature of thought. And that's what we're going to do today. I think it's important to realize that we are whole beings, and thought, it requires a whole system. We often want to bypass the mind and go to the heart. We often say, well, I need to think clearly. We just have gotten lost in separation so much that we even separate parts of ourselves. We separate our heart from our mind. We separate our body from our spirit. We separate our experience from what we think about it. And the whole healing of our mind, of ourself, let's say, our whole self is coming into wholeness, is coming into an experience that we are a whole being. And all of this functions as one thing guided by spirit. That we are spirit. Yes, we may be having a human experience, but let that human experience be one of wholeness, of healing, of coming together and not further separating. And if we want to heal the separation that we see out there, we're going to have to heal the separation we experience in ourselves. So today we're going to try to see the heart and the mind, or the heart and the brain, as one thing. We'll leave the mind to the mind of God. We know in unity that the third principle of unity states that we're creating our experience by the activity of our thinking. But on a deeper level, everything in the manifest realm has its beginning in thought. What's going on inside ends up being a representation outside, so we can see what's going on in there. That's how we see what's going on in our mind, what we're creating in the world, what we see in the world. So in order to fully understand this spiritual law, we have to ask the question, what is thought? What actually is it? Proverbs 23:7 reminds us of the spiritual law. As a man thinketh, so in his heart. That's the next line. So he is. I change it to, as a person thinketh in their heart, so they are. As you think, where? In your heart. So we've known this for over 2,000 years, that our heart actually thinks. Scientifically, in the modern era, there's an institute, the Heart Math Institute. And it has done exhaustive research as to the signals, the electrical signals that is sent from the heart to the human brain. The heart and the brain are in constant communication. You can't separate them. From their website, I'll read, most of us have been taught in school that the heart is constantly responding to the orders sent by the brain in the form of neural signals. However, it is not as commonly known that the brain also receives signals from the heart. And actually, moreover, these heart signals have a significant effect on brain function. The heart sends more signals to the brain than the brain is sending to the heart. They've measured it. They've measured how much in terms of electrical signals sent to the brain. So where are we getting our information? Mostly from our heart. But it's a constant two-way communication. It has to be, because it has to be shaped by all of your experience, not just some of it. So, the heart signals have a significant effect on your brain function, as well as your higher cognitive faculties, such as attention, perception, memory, problem solving. In other words, not only does the heart respond to the brain, but the brain constantly responds to the heart. And that's what we're concerned with at Unity, is the higher cognitive functions. We want to get away from, not get away from, but integrate properly our baser functions, the more reptilian responses to the world. In fact, there's a big study on how to teach children to bypass the amygdala response and to activate your prefrontal cortex, and therefore be able to respond with peace, with calm, with attention and focus to your world, with compassion and love, to be able to learn those things in greater amounts and retain those experiences. We tend to retain all the traumatic experiences from our childhood, and we forget all the joyful ones. Why is that? We're not listening to our heart. We're not letting our heart be the one that's encoding what's stored in our subconscious. I want to read something. I get this great book from the Unity Library. When I went to Unity Village, they were giving away books from the library, and they had a table of them, and I just scooped up a whole armful, took my clothes out of the suitcase and put in the books. Sorry, I didn't get any of you gifts from the Unity bookstore this time, because it was all these. And it's great because they were little books. I could get a lot of them in my suitcase. I love it. Kathy will end up with most of them later down in the bookstore. This was published in 1958, the year I was born. I'm not supposed to tell you that. As a man, as a person, thinketh. It was a good year. Except for my parents. As a man as a person thinketh in his or her heart, so he or she is. This is from Proverbs 23:7. By the heart, in this passage, what we mean in Unity is the subconscious. That's what they call the heart in Unity thinking. And I'll explain why. The race as a whole has not even known the existence of the great subconscious realm of their being. What has been stored in the heart, in the subconscious mind, is all the thoughts, the past beliefs and experiences an individual has of himself. All the things from our ancestors and commonly accepted beliefs of race and many other sources and error thoughts as well about God and man have been stored in your heart. Error thoughts about God and man. And that's why we need to train our minds to have a true thought about ourselves and store that in our heart. Store that in our heart. Where do those subconscious ideas come from? They're stored in the cells of your being, of your body, and in your heart. They're experiences that you have. And if they're painful experiences and you store them, you don't want to access your subconscious. There's no way you're going in there. And eventually you go to therapy and they help you get down in there. And a lot of stuff comes up perhaps in your subconscious that you didn't want to look at. But why does it have to come up? So I can release it. So I can let it go. So I can make room for God. So I can make room for the Christ within me to come forth. I need to get rid of the error thinking that I've stored in my subconscious, all the traumatic experiences that I therefore believe the world is. We're all running around, a lot of us, and we're responding to the world with fear, with anger, with mistrust for one another, with doubt, with confusion. We don't know where we're going or what we're doing or even who we are, because our hearts have been clouded by error thinking, by wrong, not wrong, I won't call it wrong, I'll just call it traumatic experiences of something that was never who we truly are. And we've mistakenly taken on those ideas, and we think that's who we are now. And so we're protecting that which is hurting us. And we need to store in our subconscious, in our heart, the messages of love, the messages of truth, the message that I behold the Christ in you. I behold that light in you. I behold the truth in you. I not only believe this, I hang around with people that are doing it. I make it a point to surround myself with people who are practicing the presence of God. Practicing the presence of God is a lot easier than you think. It's so simple to just remember who you are and let it be right here and right now. Remember that it's always right here, right now. In your presence, I'm in the presence of God. But only if you decide that that's what you want. Only if you decide that you're going to accept the truth about you. Or we can continue as we always have. How's that working so far? How's the world you see? And if it's looking as a kind and loving and gentle and beautiful place and prosperous for everyone in your life, then you're on to something. Then you are storing the information in your heart that is now communicating with your brain and bringing forth in you a whole person. Because the end of this scripture is, as a person thinketh in his or her heart, so he is, so she is. That's who you are now in the world. You are what you are holding in your heart. So never hold anything less than perfection in your heart about yourself. Never hold anything less than the perfect, loving soul that you are, because you are going to manifest what you're holding in your heart. So I talked a little bit about this institute called Heart Math. And so I looked on their website, and we've got a little video to show you how the heart communicates with the brain. I'd like to show that to you right now.
The heart math tools and techniques really help you access the intelligence of the heart so we can make better choices in the moment and really navigate these stressful times. What we hear from people across the world, across all professions, is that stress, anxiety, and overwhelm are really out of hand. And a lot of this is due to so much change that's happening. And the way our brains work, we don't like change. Humans do not like change, especially unexpected change or change that we're not in control of. And as it turns out, one of the most effective ways to really reduce stress and anxiety, and even feelings of overwhelm, is to learn how to access the intelligence of the heart and shift the rhythms of the heart, which sends a different neural message to the brain. So one aspect of our research is really focused on developing simple, practical, user-friendly tools and techniques that allow people to really manage their stress. Our basic research done here at the HeartMath Research Center focused more on the physiology of how the heart and brain communicate. Interestingly, a lot of people are surprised to learn that the heart sends more information through the nervous system to the brain than the other way around. And that sounds like some new discovery, but it's not. This has actually been known since the late 1800s. So this is why we focus on the heart so much, because if you can shift the rhythms of the heart, you can quickly improve brain function, reduce feelings of anxiety, stress, overwhelm, and so on. But it takes a different doorway, the heart. So the heart math tools and techniques are really designed to shift the rhythms of the heart, which changes the ascending information from the heart to the brain, which is absolutely necessary in order to establish a new baseline. So when we get our systems coherent and have the alignment between heart and brain, that's really when we access that deeper intuition that we have within, inner guidance. So we have a new sense of clarity in a lot of decisions that can seem complex otherwise.
think it's so simple, though. What he calls coherence. I love that term, coherence, because now I'm thinking with my heart. I'm coherent. I'm making sense. And you notice people that are just in their head and responding to the stress and stimuli from out there, they don't seem to make a lot of sense. They say a lot of things and you go, what are they talking about? Because it's this fearful response. And all it is really is this lack of coherence between the heart, what you're feeling, and the brain, how to express, and how to be, and how to walk, and how to live, and how to act, and how to treat others with respect, dignity, and love. And it's only because we're not in touch with it ourselves. So how do we get in touch with it? What do we do? I think one of the things that we need to do is like he said in this short video here, is begin to balance the signals, the wavelength, because now they're like this. And you saw when the heart and the mind are in coherence, it's a smooth signal going on. And it's a nice, peaceful dance that we're doing. And all of a sudden, you saw coming from that, when the heart and the brain were in coherence, this beautiful light extending out from you, touching that person with you. So I'm in coherence with my heart and brain, and I start talking to you. And what happens is that the signals in you begin to resonate at the same frequency, and they begin to start to smooth out. And then I can see that this person over here can also join with me in a coherence. And this person here. And you can feel it. Can you guys start to feel that? All these people, come on, George. Get coherent. And that's good, because then you're passing it on. And you have a real way now to share that with others. As a person thinketh in their heart, not only so are they, so is their world, so is everyone around them. And you share that with everyone that you meet. And you don't have to say a word to do it. That's the coolest thing about it. It's like music. It's a universal language. This coherence of heart and mind is a universal language. And you can feel it. People travel to India to try to feel it. I went to India. It was more chaotic than any place I'd ever been in my whole life. And I thought everybody meditated over here. I was like, no, it starts with me. I'm going to go home and meditate. I can't stand that. So the wonderful thing about it is we can do it on our own. It doesn't take any money. It doesn't take any education. It doesn't take any religion. It doesn't take anything at all except my desire to be as I am in my natural state in communication with all of the universe, with God, with spirit within. That's all it takes is my desire. All it takes is a knowing that that's what I want above everything else, that I want peace. After many, many years of studying and teaching A Course in Miracles and traveling around the world, I ran across this wonderful sentence that said, knowledge is not the goal of this course. The goal is peace. I said, oh, like, wow. Like, it's all just to bring me peace. Everything is in this world, everything is designed for my benefit, and it's all just to bring me back to peace. That's all. So I come all the way around full circle to knowing that as a person thinks, feels, and believes as a whole being, that's who they are, and that's what your world is. It's no longer enough for me in the law of mind action to say, thoughts held in mind. Thoughts, feelings, and beliefs held in mind and activated through the heart will create an awareness of who I am. And that world that I live in will be manifest through thy perfect law each and every moment of every day. You can't escape God, guys. It's right here, right now, and it's what you are. So just be happy in that and think from your heart. Follow your heart. We're always told, listen to your heart. What's your heart telling you? Follow your heart. Well, I think that's pretty good advice. And now that we know the benefits of it, physiologically, spiritually, psychologically, and perhaps socially, I think it's a good thing to do. Follow your hearts, guys. I love you so much.
You have been watching the message from our Sunday celebration service here at Unity on Cape Cod, providing a positive path for spiritual living. Please join us every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. at 147 Walton Ave, Hyannis, Mass. And visit us online at www.unityoncapecod.org.